Welcome, everyone, to episode 1 of Polar Opposites, presented by the USFL Network. It is a show where we will take on topics about the NFL or USFL, and we will have debates and banter. It will be myself, Ace from Pocket Aces _USFL, against Webb from @NOLA on Twitter. And here we go. Topic number 1.
Hold on 1 second, Ace. I got something for you.
Oh, boy. Oh, I know it's coming. I know it's coming.
It's Fedora time, baby.
It's Fedora time. Oh, man. When you go breakers, you got to go full breakers, right? You go for broke.
Exactly.
No pun intended. All right, Webb. So our first question we decided upon, we're going to rank the quarterbacks 1 through 8. And then we're going to go at it about why the other person is wrong. So I'm going to let you go first.
Okay.
Who is your number 1?
My number 1 is Jordan Ta'amu. I said on the draft night, they won the draft when it was the second pick.
And you're wrong. And I'll tell you why. You wouldn't be wrong, except for the fact that Brian Scott is in this league. Brian Scott is in this league, and he is far and away the number 1 quarterback, at least preseason.
I disagree. I think Ta'amu works perfectly with Todd Haley's offense. I just he's the most secure. He's the most secure, and I hear what you're saying about Brian Scott. I really do.
Okay, hear me out. So my number 2 is Jordan Ta'amu. I'm assuming that your number 2 is Brian Scott.
Number 2 is Brian Scott.
It is Brian Scott. Okay, here's why you should flip those. 1, it's because we have seen alt football. We've seen both of these quarterbacks in alt football. Jordan Ta'amu in the XFL, and we've seen Brian Scott in the TSL.
Yep.
Now, when we look at them side by side, those leagues had incredibly similar talent.
Yeah.
And one of those quarterbacks had much more success. And that was Brian Scott. He was MVP. Not only was he a champion, he won the championship. He was the MVP. Now, Jordan Ta'amu, while he was impressive, he had the best fan base. He was not the best quarterback in that league.
I disagree. He would have been the MVP if COVID didn't happen and the league.
He would not have. And I'll tell you, it's because of PJ Walker. PJ Walker was the quarterback of the Houston Roughnecks. They went undefeated. The Battlehawks technically were tied for second with the Guardians.
Yep.
So if the league had finished, Battlehawks might not even been second. So Jordan Ta'amu, 1, wasn't going to win that league. 2, was not even the best quarterback in that league. And then when you look at Brian Scott, he was MVP, which means he was the best player of that league, and he won the championship.
I still think the XFL had more talent than the spring league. So you're way in the spring league. I disagree.
There is a case. There's a case. I'll give you a case because the spring league did have people like Chase Demore, who I think is incredibly overhyped for the Panthers defense, just because he was on too out to handle. But I digress. Number 3 and 4, I want to know.
Number 3. Here we go. This is where we're going to disagree. By the way, to go back to Brian Scott before we go on, the reason I put him as the rankings as the most secure position. Jordan Ta'amu is not ever going to get benched. The tiebreaker was that Case Cookus has played for Bart Andrews in the spring league, so he knows he understands the offense, and so he's closer to being the starter than Brady White is with Jordan Ta'amu. So I ranked him based on the most secure to least secure.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is where my studying is going to help you, because do you know who the coach was when Brian Scott won the championship?
Oh, I know it's Bart Andrews.
Was it Bart Andrews? So was he already in that system and worked? Helped him in the war room during the draft? Yes, he did.
I get that, but I still feel Case Cookus is closer to Brian Scott than Brady White is closer to Jordan Ta'amu. So I ranked him based on the most secure. But
okay, while I think you might be right there, I don't think Jordan Ta'amu or Brian Scott are getting sat unless they get injured. But let's move on. Number 3 and number 4. We're going by 2s. I decided.
We're going number 3 and number 4. Here's where we disagree. And
you're so wrong.
So it's both our teams are the next rankings. Both of our teams.
Okay.
I got Kyle Slaughter as number 3 because I think he fits Fedora perfectly. He was drafted absolutely perfect. And then I got Clayton Thorsten as 4.
Thorsten.
Whatever.
Okay, first of all, we agree on Clayton Thorsten. I do have him at number 4.
Okay.
But my number 3 is Shea Patterson.
Ooh.
And I'll say it is because when I looked into Shea Patterson, he is more mobile than I thought. He throws a great pass. He's got good mechanics. Where I think that he's going to get bogged down is that he's going to be in Jeff Fisher's offense. And I don't think it's going to be that crazy. I think there's other coaches in this league that are going to be more innovative. They might not be as football smart as Jeff Fisher, but I think that Shea Patterson won't play to his full potential because of that. But I still think that he is the number 3 talent going in. But when I have Clayton Thorsten, you almost got me saying Thurston. Clayton Thorsten, because that guy, he's the most winning quarterback in Northwestern history. He played all 4 years. He actually was there 5. He played and started 4 years. He's an Iron Man. He barely missed any games anytime, which is exactly what you need in this league. You need someone who can go the distance, who has the talent, and can control the ball. The guy didn't throw that many interceptions. Was it worse than I hoped? Yes. Actually, that's what I looked at. Shea Patterson and Clayton Thorsten, I have them so similar that I had to look at their touchdown to interception ratio to make the decision. And Shea Patterson's was a little bit better.
Shea Patterson also played with better talent.
That's true, because Northwestern, while in the Big Ten, so that's a double-edged sword because they didn't get the best talent because the best talent in the Big Ten was going to Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Wisconsin. But he was playing against those people, which made him more impressive. Now, before I talk about Kyle Sloter, he's going to get Kyle slaughtered in the pocket. I want to show you what I brought. I'm going to go ahead and throw some shade, dog. I'm going to throw some shade out here. So I don't know if you know this. Kyle Sloter actually came into college at that nothing college that wasn't even a Power 5. I don't even know if it was D1. Sorry to anybody else who went there. I'm sure it's great. But he was a wide receiver, dog. He wasn't even a quarterback.
Hold on. If you want to know the whole story is that
the whole story.
He was recruited by the Fedora at Southern Miss. He was going to be the quarterback. They were planning for it. Southern Miss had a great year. He beat Kevin Summerlin at Houston. Fedora beat Summerlin in the biggest game of Summerlin's career at that point.
When he was at Houston. I know.
Slaughter. I'm always going to call him Slaughter because he's just the guy.
Because he's getting slaughtered in the pocket.
He redshirted with the plan that he was going to take over the number 1 spot. Coach changes happen. He still was planning to work on the number 1 spot. He goes to wide receiver. Coaches come in. They're not guaranteeing anything. They're bringing their own recruits. He leaves. He goes to Northern Colorado. Has a good college career. Goes to the NFL. 4-year Vikings. Has great preseason.
Awful.
I'm telling you, and he fits perfectly with Fedora. And Fedora owes it to him for going to North Carolina. And they're going to be rolling. That was almost as good of a fit as Tiamu and Scott. In my mind, that after looking, we killed him on the draft night. We killed him. I was like, what the? But I'm telling you right now, he is perfect for that team.
Okay. I'm not going to put the sunglasses. I'm not going to throw that much shade, but I am going to put them on right now for Sloter in the pocket because he was a wide receiver. He didn't make the cut at Southern Miss. He had one good preseason game, and that is his highlights that everybody is posting. And you know when that was? That was 4 years ago. But oh my gosh, when a player doesn't have highlights for the past 4 years, and he was a wide receiver, he wasn't even a quarterback. He comes in, his mechanics are bad. He's throwing off his back foot all the time. You got a poor man's Ryan Tannehill.
First of all, Ryan Tannehill is pretty good for this level, but
the only thing holding the Tennessee Titans back, but okay.
Sloter, well, and Derrick Henry can't stay healthy sometimes. Sloter, first of all, he's sticking around for all these years, right? Like, he's got to be showing something. He might not have highlights. He might have gotten a shot. He stuck behind Kirk Cousins, I believe, and Denver, it was a mess. He's hung around. Like, if you can hang around on NFL rosters that long, you're talented. I don't care if he played wide receiver when he was 18 years old. I'm talking when he's pro, he's hanging around. He's not being shifted to the wide. He's not Tim Tebow, right? Where they're trying to shift him to the tight end. They're keeping him at quarterback, so he's talented.
Okay, so I was actually just watching the show on Netflix, Last Chance U. Okay, we got some players that were on that show that are in this league. Last Chance U, I kind of look at the USFL as the same thing. It's second chance league. Everybody's getting their second chance. Kyle Sloter is on his 8th chance. Do we need to do that? I don't think we do. I think there's more talent out there. And we're beating a dead horse here. I say we move on.
Well, my number,
We're doing 5 and 6 now.
5 was Kyle Loletta,
Okay.
and 6 was Ben Holmes.
Okay, so we're completely off because my number 5 is Alex Magoo, and my number 6 is Kyle Sloter. So I didn't put Kyle Sloter as 8.
Remember, Magoo. I put it as they're going to be the starter for the entire year, not pure talented. So we got a little difference there. Magoo,
Okay.
I like.
You did it wrong. I get it.
I like Magoo. I do. I just think the backup's going to take over for him. I really,
okay, but you think that because I said that, which I agree and I applaud you for. But
all Holtz did was Conference USA, mid-major, mid-major, even Warren Saba, right? Oh, that was
I mean, Alex Magoo, he has good upside. If he can come in and prove it, then I believe that he can. Do I think he will? No. And I know that their backup, Jamar Davis Smith.
Yes, sir.
So he is electric. That dude is insane. He's doing movie like football out there on the field, like looks like Madden. And he also played under Skip Holtz. So he has that leg up. I think Skip Holtz, no matter what, yes, he has Alex Magoo as a starter, but Jamar Davis Smith already has plays in that playbook that Skip Holtz is going to put him in for. And if he comes in and does really well, Alex Magoo is literally one injury away from not being a starter.
I don't even think it's injury. I think he'll be replaced if it's not working effectively.
Yeah.
Off.
I think he has high upside. That's why he sits in my 5. But then number 6, I have Kyle Sloter because I don't absolutely hate him like I do my number 7 and 8. Hate is a strong word. I hate them as players. So, but I think that Kyle Sloter is good. I think he has potential, and his running gun, the reason he's not number 8 is that the USFL was pioneered on the running gun offense, and that is what Sloter does. So I agree that he could be good. But I think he's an old man who doesn't have a highlight in the past 4 years. But I digress. So we move 7 and 8.
7 is Shea Patterson. And like I said, mine was confidence ranking. I think Paxton Lynch is going to be day 1 starter. I know you're going to disagree. I think if he was available on draft night, which we know he wasn't.
Yes, we do know that.
When they did the first round draft pick, the Daytona 500, I think Paxton Lynch would have been the first pick. I think he fits Jeff Fisher perfectly. He's big body, big arm.
Okay, but so is Shea Patterson. The interesting thing there is that they are basically the same quarterback, right?
They're similar. One's bigger though. Paxton Lynch is bigger.
Paxton Lynch is bigger and he's a little more mobile. Yeah. So it depends. I think minicamp, it is not set, but I think Shea Patterson is 100% the starter right now. Because Jeff Fisher in an interview literally said, we would not have gotten that guy if we weren't the first pick, which I don't necessarily agree, but he thought that. So he has a lot of faith in Shea Patterson. But my number 7 is Ben Holmes, and my number 8 is Kyle Loletta. And I will tell you why before you fight me. Ben Holmes, number 1, I don't think he's a starter. I think it is a full-on fist fight for the QB battle until week 1, because he's on a team with DeAndre Johnson, who he already was on a team with on the Sea Lions in the TSL. Yep. He did come in and he took over for DeAndre Johnson. He came in late in the season and he took over. That was only because DeAndre Johnson was a little inaccurate with his passes. Now, I've seen this man's work ethic, and I know he's coming out swinging. I know he's working on his accuracy. And he runs like a 4.37 40 as a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's insane.
He's got the higher ceiling, and that's the reason why.
The highest ceiling. The only thing Ben Holmes has over him is that Ben Holmes is a safer bet. He's going to throw less interceptions, but he's not going to give you the huge home run plays that you're looking for in the USFL, especially when you're down in the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had him at 6, Ben Holmes, just because I think he's going to eventually be replaced by DeAndre Jordan. He's got a higher ceiling, but the 2 that I had lower are because I think the backups are actually going to pass out the first string. So,
and that's fair because I think Alex Magoo does have a good chance of being passed up by Jamar Davis Jr. or Jamar Davis Smith. And I think Jamar Davis Smith has a chance of being the PJ Walker of this league. That guy is electric. Wow. I mean, he literally did the sunshine move from Remember the Titans in game. It was incredible. But then number 8, I have Kyle Loletta. And it's for 2 reasons. One, he's just a big, lanky gunslinger who's not very impressive to watch. He's more of a game manager. They call him a gunslinger, but I really don't see in his highlights him going super deep all the time, impressing us. And then the second reason is going to be because he's at Pittsburgh. I don't think they're going to be good. I don't think they're too old school for a league like this.
Well, with Tomlinson as the coordinator, the quarterback equalizer, the simulator, I think I sent you. He's the offense coordinator. It's first time calling play. He's going to want a pocket passer. Loletta is a pocket passer. He's a Jimmy G type of player. I told you that on draft night. That's what his scouting report was.
Which is almost a diss.
It's a diss if we're talking about the NFL, but I think Jimmy G would be pretty good. If Jimmy G was in this league, we would be ranking him number one.
Oh, yeah, he'd be amazing. He'd be
fantastic. Exactly. So if Loletta could beat Jimmy G in this league, why not? Why not? Pittsburgh's got one. And with this, I'm really fascinated to see how they run, because they are the one team where I just can't get a vibe on. I just don't like. Don't. And that's probably the reason why they're ranked 8th. And a lot of, actually, if you see some of the the gambling lines and everything, they're like middle of the pack. But all of our contributors on the USFL network, we all basically, they were 7th or 8th the entire time. So.
Well, I have like very specific reasons why I think that they're going to be last. Let me check on that. Maybe not last. Okay, close though. And I have specific reasons in my notes. But Kyle Loletta and the offense that they're going to run is one of them. Like you said, the offensive coordinator, yes, he's a quarterback guru, but he doesn't have that much experience running plays. So I think they come into the league much more conservative, much more run heavy, and I just don't think that does it. I don't think that lets Kyle Loletta be the gunslinger that everybody says he is. I have him as number 8. I think they're number 8.
But don't you think being different could actually become a strength?
Maybe.
So, like Georgia Tech, when they ran the option all those years in the ACC, I know as a Clemson fan, like I hated that game because you came from playing some spread team, and then you're going to go play someone. Georgia Southern right down the street from me. Like they run the option, and they get a better record because they're different. So
yes, but it's not just because they're different. It's because of the triple option, and it's the same reason that the academies run it. Army, Navy, a little bit Air Force, not as much. They run it because they don't have the size, they don't have the talent, and Navy has to go out and play like Notre Dame every year. But if you run the triple option, you will get yards as long as you're disciplined. Yeah. But a lot of these teams out there, you look at these guys, they're not that disciplined. Whereas when you go to an academy, when you go to Georgia Tech, they have, the history with it. It helps them get an edge as long as they don't make mistakes and get penalties. But it's not just the fact that they're different, it's the scheme. And I think the scheme for the Maulers is wrong. I think Kyle Loletta for this league is wrong.
We'll
see.
See.
So we have gone through, we have debated it. Let's go through and say our top 8. I'll start. I'm Ace from Pocket Aces. My list is number 1, Brian Scott. Number 2, Jordan Ta'amu. Number 3, Shea Patterson. Number 4, Clayton Thorsten. Number 5, Alex Magoo. Number 6, Kyle Sloter. Number 7, Ben Holmes. And number 8, Kyle Loletta. Go ahead.
I am Webb at NOLA Breakdown. All breakers, all the time. Number 1, Jordan Ta'amu. Number 2, Brian Scott. 3 is Kyle Sloter. 4 is Clayton Thorsten. Number 5 is Kyle Loletta. 6 is Ben Holmes. 7 is Shea Patterson. And 8 is Alex Magoo. And my rankings, remember, were based off quarterback battles. So it's a little
based
different.
Off being wrong. But okay, so we have 2 big topics, but we decided we were going to break it down, just have a little fun in the middle with our second topic, which is not one of the 2 big ones. So we technically have 3. Yeah. And this one is, what animal does each coach remind you of? So let's start with Skip Holtz.
Skip Holtz. Let's see. Skip Holtz. I put a squirrel.
That's interesting because I put a jackrabbit.
Well, the squirrel, he's like foraging, saving for the season. He took all the small conference little guys, like he knows what he wants, and he just kind of forges it all together. And these are the acorns, all these.
Just a squirrel out there looking for a nut.
And the nuts, all the mid-majors and the guys he knows.
So this is another list where we did it very different. I basically took it as, what do I see when I look at them? You were like, what is their identity? So very different lists. And so we don't have to debate on this one. Yeah. I said jackrabbit because when you think of like a cartoon jackrabbit, I just see that in his face, like kind of the scrunched brow. I thought it was funny.
I can see that.
Okay, Todd Haley. What do you have him as?
Oh, I gave him a bull. He's a bull.
Bull?
He's
Why?
a bull because like they're beautiful creatures. They're big. You see the bullfighting and they're epic creatures. And his offense has always been like well known, but when he sees red, he's a pain in the ass. From what I understand.
Okay, so I'm going to put it on the record that you just called Todd Haley beautiful.
His offense is, yes. His offense is. I guess, yeah. You can hold that against me. Todd Haley's beautiful.
Ask Steelers fans that if it was beautiful. But I have him as a hyena, and it's because his beard is weird. It made me laugh. So hyena.
That works. What about your boy, Kevin Sumlin?
Kevin Sumlin, I have a lion.
Oh, boy.
A natural leader. And his eyes kind of look like a lion. I did not take this one serious. I was just having fun with it.
Mine is a penguin.
Interesting.
You ever see them fight at the zoo? Have you ever seen them? I've seen them like scuffle and everything, but they're gentle. Like you think they're gentle. Sumlin's kind of got like a double personality. Like he's intense, but he's laid back. And he just
I agree because I watched that interview with him today where I was taking fierce notes about the coaches. Yeah. And he looks like in his profile picture, he looks like super serious and stuff on Twitter. And then you listen to him and he just sounds like you're like talking to your grandpa about football. Yeah. I prefer yours, Penguin. I get it. What about your boy, Larry Fedora?
Oh, I gave him a bat.
What?
A bat. The flying around bat.
Why?
Because he's not conforming to anything. He's not traditional. Fedora loves to do things differently. If you watch him at UNC and Southern Miss, he does it a little differently. So,
okay, I agree with that because I gave him a Harpy Eagle.
Okay,
and it's one because you see nothing but like pictures. Every time you Google him, you see pictures of him shirtless, and it's just like he's just so out there and fierce. Yeah. And like you said, his offenses and stuff, like he's very against the grain. And when you look at eagles, they all kind of look the same. And then you get to a harpy eagle and it's just kind of doing its own thing and it's very fierce. So I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that. What about Fisher?
Okay. Jeff Fisher is an old hound dog.
Well, you went on look. So yeah, I agree with that. I put it ant.
An ant.
An ant. He's hardworking, nothing fancy, but given time, he could do a little thing.
You made that sound better because I thought it sounded so bad.
Well, you ever like kick over like an ant pile and you see all their caverns and everything? He's got a little thing going on. It's intricate sometimes it's not. Sometimes it looks like just a hill, and then you kick it open and it's like, oh, he's doing this. So
why do I feel like you studied more about the coach's animals than you did about the defense?
No, because I think like this. I don't know. I don't know. This came easy to me. This came a lot more.
I have him as an old hound dog. One, because he looks like an old hound dog. And two, because he said pre-draft when he was talking that he would not come to Birmingham without his dogs. So he's not staying at a hotel. He's getting like an Airbnb or an apartment because he's bringing his old dogs. So it just made sense. All right, Mike Riley.
Mike Riley. I had a seahorse.
Okay, I had iguana, which is kind of the same strain of scaly.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have it because it's scaly, but I had it because like he is so like it doesn't seem like he's changed much since his days at Oregon State, Nebraska. He runs that single back West Coast offense. I was thinking West Coast, ocean animal. He's from the West Coast. And seahorses, I don't know if you know this. This is a fun fact. We do animal.
That's a male holds the baby and gives birth?
No, it's not that.
Oh, it's not that.
It is that they find a mate for life. So I feel like he's mated with his offense, and he will be a West Coast.
He's going to die with that offense.
Yeah, okay. He's going to die.
Okay. Well, mine, I guess a little bit of the same thing. West Coast, I think beaches, and I think iguanas. So
Kirby Wilson.
So what we got left is Kirby Wilson and Bart Andrus.
Yes, sir. How about Kirby?
Okay, Kirby Wilson is a turtle. He is.
Yeah, you went on looks. I put a sable. Do you know what a sable is?
No. Is it a bird?
No, it's this epic creature from the jungles in Madagascar and stuff like that. You don't have kids, but they're noble creatures that aren't known by people, and that's the reason why I'm glad you said no, because you don't even know what it is. But when you look at it, you're like, oh wow, that's pretty impressive. Humans are basically their only enemies in the jungle. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
I
so
thought he looked like a turtle, and I'll bring it up later. But he drafted a lot of slow people. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess, that's kind of true. But I just feel like the Noble, I don't know. And he had Curtis Martin and Emmitt Smith and everything. He's been around Noble guys and all that. So, and then Bart. What about Bart?
Okay, so I need to look it up to show you. It's called a proboscis monkey.
I have no idea what that is.
There's no way it'll show on my screen right now.
Oh, it's fine.
I'm upset.
I'll look it up. We'll leave.
Nope, my phone doesn't even exist.
Yep,
it's the monkey with like the huge nose. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Like if a monkey's name was Norman, it would be this monkey. Sorry to any Normans out there.
Sorry to Bart Andrews.
True.
I put a golden poison frog. They're like one of the most deadliest animals out there.
I know what it is, but that's so random. I wouldn't have guessed any of yours.
He's a little known guy, and he's known to attack before being attacked, just like the frog. He's talking all offense. He is all like, let's go, and his guys. So it just picked up. But anyways, that's all.
Okay. So that finishes our fun section where we compared all of the coaches to animals. Now brings us to the second big section, big question, USFL related, that is, how do you rank the defenses? 1 through 8, all the teams. All right, here we go. Number 1, who you got?
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Why?
I just like the 2 guys that they got from Alabama, Dalen Mack and McKay Brown. And then Obi, I'm not going to try to pronounce.
Melifonwu.
Yeah, the former second-round pick. They just got guys. And I thought they won the draft on draft night. So I'm just a big believer. I'm interested to see what kind of defense they're calling, but they just have guys, and I just like their guys. So
okay, I had them at number 2.
Okay.
And one of my big names was Obi Melifonwu. Because he is electric. The dude not only is a ball hawk and is actually very good in coverage for his size, he's versatile. He played corner and safety. I mean, you could pull him in as an outside linebacker. He's that big, and he hits like a tank. So I thought that was a fantastic pick. But I also have that they have versatility and scheme fits. They really drafted well for what I've heard their defense is going to be. And I think that they're going to be scary early. I think it's going to work. Their pass rush is going to be pretty good. But my number 1, can you guess?
Houston.
It's the Houston Gamblers, and I will tell you why.
Oh boy, we're way off here. We're way off. It's
number 1 is because of Tim Lewis, our defensive coordinator. That dude, he's got good defensive schemes. He runs a 3-4. I absolutely love the 3-4. I think you can do so much out of it. And the way that they drafted, everybody is fast. Everybody hits like a house. And I mean, the pass rush, I think the run might be our weakness, but as far as pass rush goes, it's insane. We have Ahmad Gooden. We have Draquan Brown. I mean, in the middle, holding it down, who's actually very good against the run. So maybe is Dominic Davis, who we're going to be talking to this Friday, actually. But it's so good. And then in the secondary, we just have like the corners are very good at coverage. And then we have 3 safeties, 2 that we got early on. One's Manny Bunch. He's great in coverage. Long, kind of like, what's his name? Josh Hamilton for Notre Dame right now. Yep. And then the other guy, what is his name? Oh, I ruined my notes before because we had to set up. Gosh, Andrew Soro. He's an absolute beast, strong safety. He's going to come up. He can stuff the run. He can blitz. He hits like a Mack truck. And then we got Stanley Green Jr. in the supplemental. Insane. I think this defense, and I didn't even bring up linebackers, dude. We got Donald Payne, who we've talked to and is an absolute monster. And then Beniquez Brown, who was already in the middle of Tim Lewis's defense and calling plays and having the green dot on his helmet. I think we are number 1. I genuinely think they're the best defense.
I know you've watched a lot more Gamblers than I have at this point.
Yes.
I know you guys did well on defense. Your offense is what you need to worry about.
Offense is a little lacking, at least at wide receiver. Everywhere else, I think we're okay.
I don't know if you guys are number one, but I put you middle of the pack. So
okay. Well, number 2, I had the Bandits, and I've already described why. So who do you have as number 2?
I have the Stallions. I love Scooby Wright. 17 tackles in 4 games with the DC Defenders. I think John Chavis, the defense coordinator, he was SEC guy with LSU when they were winning national titles. Tennessee. He's just a good coach, and I think their concept is going to work. And then Josh Shaw, the USC cornerback, it was a 4.4 40. Would be in the NFL if he could stay healthy. I really believe that. So flexibility in Chavis's defense is really important. But where do you have Birmingham? That face tells me we're disagreeing a lot here.
8.
Oh boy,
I have them as last.
wow.
I think they are one of the youngest defenses.
Yep, they are.
But they are also one of the slowest when you look at speed. Like, yes, they have a couple burners, but everywhere else, they are the slowest. And
I don't think they're as slow as you're describing.
So when you look at the safeties and the corners, sure. When you look at their linebackers and their defensive line, it's slow, man. And it could be good if they scheme it right, but just looking at it, no, especially because a lot of the players are very young, they're unrefined, and I just don't see them having as big of an impact early on as they could. Could they get better as the season goes? Sure.
Yeah.
But I have them as 8.
I
blew my 8 real early.
I'm just a big fan of John Chavis. Like at LSU, he was great with Les Miles. Okay. When they were winning, they were holding Alabama to 6 points. The 9-6 games and all that. John Chavis has been around forever, and I think his concept. I think the team fits, and he's been coaching SEC, so it's not like he's been coaching rec ball. So
yeah, okay.
I think they'll
make me think maybe they can move up a little bit from literally dead last.
I really think Skip took care of the offense and he drafted the defense. I really do. They all fit. Scooby Wright is a perfect fit for his middle linebacker. So
I'd agree with that. Who do you have as number 3?
My homer pick, New Orleans Breakers. Soto, my boy. The defensive line is so fun to watch. I think they have the best defensive line. Bellamy, and Adonis Alexander, I believe, is the best corner in the league. So
he genuinely will be like top 3.
Yeah. He's so long and so quick, and
yeah,
he's so smart. At Virginia Tech, he was very smart. So,
well, at number 3, I have the Generals, and I don't specifically remember why. My only note is Toby Johnson. So,
so we both lost our number 8s. We
you have Generals at 8?
I do. Paris Ford's good. The safety out of Pittsburgh. Trey Elson's good. The safety. I think their safeties are good, and I think Toby Johnson obviously brings a veteran presence.
Yeah, he does, and I think he holds it down. It all starts there, right?
I don't trust all their guys, I guess.
Whoa.
But
okay, well, at number 5, I have the Philadelphia Stars. Sorry, number 4, I have the Philadelphia Stars.
Okay.
And it all starts with the safeties, actually. You look at Cody Brown and you look at Ladarius Wiley. They are both XFL veterans, and they both did really well. Which one? I believe it's Cody Brown is a speedster. He's great in coverage. When you look up the XFL, there's like a couple main highlights you'll run into, and one of them is a pick 6 that he had because it was insanely beautiful, and he put on the burners and looked like he was running 100 meter. So it was awesome. I think that the safeties look great. And then, their pass rush. Their pass rush is awesome. I think that it's going to get in there. I think as far as passing goes, on both sides, they're covering it. They got Brian Scott passing on the other side, my number 1 pick. And then on the defense, they have, who was it? Mike Barnett and Chris Nelson up in the middle at defensive tackle. And they are houses of men, and they are going to just dominate any interior line.
Yeah.
So I think that the Stars are my number 4. Who do you have?
First of all, the Stars are number 7 for me. So we're way off today on this.
What?
We're going to disagree. This is going to be something we need to follow going forward. But
we will be doing this again mid-season, and you will be eating your words. I promise you.
I have Pittsburgh number 4. I like Tenzio. He's sideline to sideline, aggressive on every play. Carlo Kemp, the kid at Michigan. I feel like he would have had a bigger season. if COVID in the Big Ten. That was the year the Big Ten played a short schedule. I think he would have been drafted. He's quick edge rusher. And then Arnold Tarpley III is probably one of my favorite safeties in the league. So
you got more names. Like I was looking at names, but like I said before we started, I watched tape on literally every defensive player on every team because my girlfriend had homework on Sunday, so I had time. But I didn't specifically write down names.
Yeah.
I had a couple names that I wanted to bring up, but I looked at the defensive unit as a whole and how the players work together and what I knew about the schemes. And I have the Maulers at 6. And I don't necessarily disagree with you because I literally think they have the talent. The talent is there.
Yep.
But the way that they drafted and the scheme it's looking like they're using, it's going to be a 4-3. It's big guys up front. And it's just kind of archaic and prehistoric the way that I think their offense is going to be. And that's why I don't have them higher. That's why I have them at 6.
So you basically think that the defense is going to be on the field way too long.
Yes, and I think it's going to break down because they have big guys. They don't have huge speed out there. Yeah. And I don't think they're running that intuitive or, let's say, new defenses. Like they aren't bringing anything crazy to the table. And that's why I have them lower. Number 5, I have the Breakers, though. Okay. And I have the Breakers. I have the Breakers because, let me get to my list. Their corners, like I said, Adonis Alexander and Derek Jones, those were their first 2 that they drafted. And they are elite. They are so good. I think they possibly are the best corner tandem in the league. But I don't think that wins you the league, even if it is pass heavy, because you still have to stop the run. And you guys lack size everywhere outside of the D-line. Like, yes, do you have Shakir Soto? Do you have James Folston Jr. up in the middle? 100%. But if they hit the outside, I think your linebackers are lacking in the run game. That's where I think it breaks down.
I think New Orleans drafted all versatility. They didn't pick size. Like Bellamy is an edge rusher in the draft, but he's probably going to be an outside linebacker for most.
No, I agree. And I think that's the same for a lot of teams. When you look at, I brought up Draquan Brown earlier. He is an edge rusher and he predominantly rushes, but he has the speed and he has the size of an outside linebacker. So yes, they drafted for the versatility. And I think that the Breakers drafted more for versatility than other teams. And I think that is almost a negative at some point, like it's kind of a bell curve. And so while some teams, like I think the Gamblers hit the top of the bell curve, I think the Breakers went over and they're on the downward slope. Because I think while you do have a bunch of versatile guys, if you don't have enough size on the field, then you can still get run over by big guys like the Gamblers have Mark Thompson, and he will bulldoze you. We saw Jawan Alexander. Like, you might be able to stop him because you have the speed, but if you have a big, powerful running back, maybe not. And then number 6, like I said, I had the Maulers, and I already explained that.
My number 6 was Houston.
And please explain to me why you have my number 1 defense as your number 6.
I don't think speed wins it. I think they're almost too fast. I don't think they're tough enough. They're the fastest team in the league on defense. And I'm not. 100%. Donald Payne. I'm not saying it's not tough. I'm not saying these guys aren't tough. I'm saying they're still friends of the show.
You coming at my boy DP? How dare you?
I'm not. I just think they're the quickest team in the league. But they're not the strongest, and I think they can get pushed over and bullied. I
disagree. We have while we do have the fastest, I think we also do have the good size. I think it's at the good, level. Kind of, it's almost proportional, right? It's not every day that you find a Jadeveon Clowney who's going to be lightning fast and also huge. But I think it's a good balance that we have, and I think that you will be surprised at how well and how hard these guys hit. Like I said, our safeties, we have Andrew Soro and we have Stanley Green Jr. Those guys are not even the biggest people on the field. They hit like they're the biggest people on the field. I love DP. I think Stanley Green Jr. hits harder than him. Wow. And he's about 40 pounds lighter.
I will say that I did these rankings before you broke the news on Tim Lewis. Tim Lewis kind of...
That's a big change, right? Birmingham Iron had a good defense.
See, I did this ranking just looking at the guys, and Tim Lewis is a great hire. It was a surprise to me. It really was. Because I thought he would have been playing head coaching somewhere else.
No, honestly, I agree. And he was the head coach of the Birmingham Iron. He was head coach DC. And I think that's an amazing coach pick. And I think that, yes, I would agree with you to move the Gamblers down from the number 1 spot, not be number 1, maybe top 3, 4, if I didn't know that Tim Lewis was putting that all together.
That's fair.
But then number 7, and I think this is the only one I haven't brought up, is the Panthers.
Yeah, that was my number 5. So we're pretty close on that one.
Yeah, they aren't fast.
Yep.
They lack coverage past the secondary. I don't think any of their linebackers are even decent coverage guys. There's a lot of run stopping, just a lot of old school football that I'm seeing being drafted. And I just think, at least over the middle, you can tear them apart. And they waited to get their second safety until the supplemental. So while they do have decent and like maybe above average corners, they didn't even get their second safety until the supplemental, which is just, that blows my mind, because that is such an important position, especially when you're looking at a league like this that people are saying is going to be an air raid. I don't know how you pass on that round, but
I agree. My players to watch are Warren Sapp. I think it's so fascinating that he isn't in the NFL, and there's some tricky rules that he has to declare for the NFL so he can play in August. There's rules with the union and everything. So we'll see where that
goes. Out. I mean,
but he had 2 picks against Cincy in his last college game a couple months ago against that Cincinnati team that went into the playoffs. So
no, I agree.
A big play guy.
I think that's a great pick, but I just think that they lack a little depth. I think they're lean.
They're very lean.
They are very lean. And this league, like you said, Gamblers have the fastest defense, right? Yeah. And, if you look at the offensive side of the Panthers, they have 4 tight ends. They did not overhaul receivers, running backs. I love Reggie Corbin. That's my guy. I have a bet against him. No money. If anybody's watching, there's no money in it. But I just don't think that they have the depth anywhere on the field to do well. I don't know how he pulled it off. They're the number 1 pick on everybody's list, but I just don't agree either side of the field. Maybe they'll have the best special teams. Who knows? But yeah. So, all right. We've come to almost the end. Let's go through and say ours again. I took the first one. You go ahead and read your list first.
All right. First, I had Tampa. Mm-hmm. I'm very pro Tampa. After researching, I'm very pro Tampa. Birmingham, number 2. New Orleans, 3. Pittsburgh, 4. Michigan, 5. Houston, 6, but I would change it if I knew Tim Lewis was the defense coordinator. Philly, 7, and New Jersey, 8.
All right. And then my list is number 1, the Gamblers. Number 2, the Bandits. Number 3, the Generals. I could be swayed to move that. Number 4, the Stars. Number 5, the Breakers. Number 6, the Maulers. Number 7, the Panthers. And number 8, Birmingham Stallions, the home team all the first year. I have them as dead last. So
that's crazy. So real quick, best quarterback probably is going to win the MVP, you would think, right?
Yeah, unless a running back or wide receiver goes incredibly hard.
Yeah. So defense, who's your defensive player of the year out of everyone? I know we didn't prep for this, but
yeah, we did not. I gotta go. I'm a homer. I love this guy, DP dude. I think if he really puts it together and plays, if they move him to middle linebacker, because they actually drafted him as outside linebacker, which I thought was interesting because he was an NFL middle linebacker with the green dot on his helmet. If they move him into inside linebacker and play him in Tim Lewis's 3-4, I could see him being just outstanding. So he's my player. Donald Payne Jr.
Mine's Arnold Tarpley III, the safety for the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Interesting, but okay. All right.
Yeah, that's he has a great ceiling. Pittsburgh native, so he's coming home repping the team, and his reactions are probably the best in the league. So I think he's going to create a lot of turnovers.
That's fair. I won't even fight you on that one. I could see it going either way. But we have finished. This is the end of the first episode. How do you think it went, Webb?
I won. I'm the winner. The belt's here.
I am in shock and awe of not only how bad your lists are, but how bad you took this whole thing and thought you won. But
to be honest, the quarterbacks are pretty close. The defense was way off. So
quarterbacks were similar. I think that was kind of to be guessed. I did not expect our defenses to be that off.
Yeah, I didn't either.
The fact that some of them were full 5 positions swings is wild to me.
2 and 8. You're 2, my 8, but
yeah, kind of wild. But I think it's interesting that we will get to look at these once the season starts and see how we did. And I'm excited to do that. I'm excited to keep doing this with you and just keep whooping that butt every week on Polar Opposites, presented by the USFL Network. I am Ace from @PocketAces_USFL on Twitter and Instagram.
And I am Webb at NOLA Breakdown. For all the breaker stuff, I'm also USFL Network Web. And we do live interviews. We do everything. Now cut my music.